Hey guys, it's your girl Kayla with Mad Flavor TV, and we're here at the For Life series premiere. Now, For Life is all about the amazing story of Mr. Isaac Wright Jr., who was a prisoner with a life sentence, who became a lawyer and fought his own case. We'll be chatting with him and other cast members and producers of this amazing show, and we don't want you to go anywhere, and you cannot miss For Life on ABC February 11th. All right, guys, it's Kayla with Mad Flavor, and we're here at the For Life premiere right here in Washington, D.C., talking to Mr. Doug Robinson, and you're one of the executive producers for what we believe is going to be a very powerful show. So talk to us a little bit about preparing and for this really cool show.
Well, I mean, as a producer, you try to find projects that you think have a story you want to tell. And when I heard Isaac's story, I thought it was a classic underdog story of one man overcoming the system to fight for himself. And what I learned along the way was just truly how insurmountable what Isaac did and what Isaac had to overcome was.
Now, it's funny because for the longest time, I thought this was a movie. So talk to me about turning his story into a series.
Well, look, there are so many phases of Isaac's story, or in our show, Aaron Wallace's story. There's the backstory of his family before prison, and we do some flashbacks in the show. There's his struggle in prison to become a lawyer, to understand his place in prison and what his commodity is in prison. And for Aaron Wallace and for Isaac, it was his brain, and his ability to represent other inmates became his commodity. And then there will be, at some point in the show, a life after prison, because Isaac in real life is a practicing attorney, as is Aaron Wallace. So there will be hopefully one point in the show at some point where Aaron is free, and at some point we'll have his practice and fight for other people's freedoms.
So are you hoping that For Life will bring to life the conversation of prison reform in the United States?
First and foremost, I hope it's an entertaining show that people enjoy. And if a byproduct of that is we can bring awareness to a systemic problem, then it's great. Then we've really done our jobs.
When you found out about this role and this opportunity, what was your immediate response?
Well, I read the pilot along with a bunch of other pilots, right? You get all these scripts, you're like, cool, like what's going to be something that I can either, go in and read for, can I get? And it was by far the best thing that I read in that pile, and just a really incredible, beautiful, compelling story. I had no idea that it was actually inspired by a real person. Had no idea about Isaac and his journey. I auditioned, I got it, and then I found out. I'm like, wait a minute, this is actually... Because you didn't. How did they come up with this? Because they came up with it because of what he went through. So that's one. And then two, I have loved ones who are formerly incarcerated. I have two good girlfriends who have partners who are formerly incarcerated, and I was able to lean into that because those are my girls. I know what they were going through, right? To maintain that connection with someone that they loved, right? Over state, like someone who's like far away, like in 4 states away, It's my ear just come out. It's good.
They're so cute too. I love them.
Thank you. So reading it, I instantly connected to the character because in a very organic, natural way, So all of that together just made it very a no-brainer for me to be involved in it.
What a blessing to be a part of it, and like you said, in such an organic way, you didn't even know that it was based on true events. And it's so interesting that you would talk about your friends who have partners who've had partners who were formerly incarcerated, because it is something that's so close to the African American community, and it's been an issue for decades, and it just seems like it's not. We're not sure if it's coming to an end or not. But just given the light of everything that's been going on now as far as prison reform, do you feel like this show is going to be something that brings more attention, more light to that, and perhaps makes a difference?
Yeah, because the timing is perfect for a show like this. I think if it had come about like 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't have seen the light of day. But because of
Mississippi,
that it's now risen to a level that people can no longer ignore.
And I always ask the question when we talk about prison reform is how do we make sure that it's not just a trend and that it's something that we actually push forward and make change for? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think it is at such a point now that there's no turning back, really, right? When you have bipartisan, in terms of politics, right? When you have in terms of bipartisan support for reform, transformation, whatever you want to call it, that's saying something about where we are right now. And it's about damn time. Sometimes you go two steps forward, take one back. So, I think progress works like that. So, while I would love, and I'm sure we all would love things to change like that, it's going to take a second for it to really, really change. The issues are so deep.
They're so deeply rooted into the fabric.
It's like weeds. You don't just cut the top off. You have to really get to the root of it. So we're still digging to get to the root of it. And I think there's a lot of things that people need to really reconcile and come to terms with as to why we even got to this place, right? But I think I'm optimistic that this is not a trend. I think this show, I don't want to put too much on it because, it's a TV show, but it's powerful. And I think when people see it, they can take a lot from it, whether you are, this life or world intimately or you don't. And once they hear Isaac's story in connection to that,
bringing that awareness for sure.
Yeah.
And everybody has a part that they can play, great or small. So I just think what you all are doing is very impactful. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes and talking to us. Appreciate it. We got you. Guys, it's Kayla with Mad Flavor, and we're talking to Mr. Isaac Wright Jr., the person who has inspired such a powerful story, the new series For Life that's airing on ABC. Wow. That's all I can really say. I guess everything happens for a reason, but did you ever imagine that everything that you went through, you would see a day like this?
It's something that in a dream, you kind of play with, but in reality, you know that things are quite different. And so, no, I could not imagine in my wildest reality that this would be a reality, but it is. And it's a product of divine intervention. If you follow my journey from where I began with life in prison, and you take that journey and you wind up here, in front of this microphone, the only thing that you can account that to is divine intervention. And so, it's amazing, and I feel really, really good about it.
That's such a blessing. And I want to hear from you how this came about. Were you approached? Did you go about wanting to tell your story? How did this happen?
The crazy thing is that it actually started with illegality. This guy owned an illegal fight club in the Bronx called the BX Fight Club. Okay. And he was a friend of 50's. And so, he was very, very successful in doing these illegal fights. He would be in warehouses and junkyards and stuff like that.
So ironic.
Where 300 people would come out, And he'd have people like Fat Joe, Remy Ma come out and perform during intermission. But 50 wouldn't do it. He asked 50, and they were friends. 50 said, no, I got a promoter's license. If I go out to a legal fight club, I'm going to lose my license. You get legal, I'll come. So they began to try to get legal. They went through a number of lawyers, spent a lot of money. They couldn't do anything for him. 50 pushed them a couple of lawyers, and the lawyers basically told 50, or the lawyers basically told them, 50's lawyer said, listen, it's impossible. It cannot be done. You're in a legal fight club. You're fighting in garages. And so another guy that knew him said, listen, he heard him gripe, and he said, listen, where all these guys failed, I think I know someone that may be able to make things right for you. So he introduced me to this guy. I heard his issues. I assessed his problem. I got him legal in 2 weeks. 50 came out and performed.
The plug.
And 50 was like, yo, who did this? How did this happen? So he introduced me to 50, and the rest is history.
Told him your story, and I'm sure he was very moved. and we know 50 loves some drama. All right, so going forward, this show will be airing in just just a week or so. Well, what are you hoping the response will be from those who see it?
I mean, I really hope the response will be something that I cannot imagine. I think it will. I mean, this is an incredible story of hope and inspiration. It's a story of challenges, and those are the things that we face every day in our lives. We face different types of challenges, and one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is that when they get in these challenging situations, a lot of them don't have any help, and they're going from one place to another looking for answers. And this story is about looking in the mirror, because a lot of times when you're looking for answers, the answer is within yourself, and if you dig deep enough, you'll find those answers. And so I believe this is what this story is about. It's the message of the story, and I think the public is going to gravitate to it and embrace it.
Well, I can't tell you how excited we are about checking it out, and thank you so much for taking a moment to stop and talk to us.